Hello, we are live here in Curitiba, Brazil for the third round of the TCC Championship of the International Virtual Racing Community. We quickly go through the grid after you saw all the data before in that little slideshow. Pole position for Max Truecker in the Spinnagle Racing team again. Second, Peter Jones. Third, Christian Alvarez. Fourth, Thomas Raschke. Fifth is Saulius Laurinavicius. 6th is Philipp Strübing, 7th is Laszlo Teglas, 8th Nahuel Fulgenci, 9th Charlotte Menning, 10th Redwan Lemati, and 11th Dovidas Laurinavicius. And on the 4 positions behind that are those who haven't drove a lap, and that are Francisco Vasquez in front of Manuel Centino, then Tobias Kress, and on the last position Sven Arne Andersen. We're here in the beautiful sunny Brazil on the track in Curitiba. And let's drive a little bit here and watch Peter Jones. Last time we were in Turagua in Venezuela, and Max Truecker is currently 4-4 in race wins in this season. And yeah, he's the I think the 4-time champion. He's going for the 5 times in a row. But yeah, for example, this guy, Peter Jones, will have something against it and will try to win today's race, or at least one of the 2 races. Second race, as usual, is a sprint race. That's 20 minutes as well. With a complete reverse grid, except for those that did not finish the first race, who will start in the back. But yeah, other than that, the entire field will be reversed from the results of the first race. So, for example, we have 15 drivers today. So, if, for example, Peter Jones finishes the first race on the first position and no one crashes, basically, then he will start from the 15th position in race 2. Max Truecker, even though he has won both feature races so far, has also somehow managed to win both sprint races from the back. In Daytona he did it with, in my opinion, there was a lot of carnage, but he just drove pretty good. And in Turagua he was a little bit lucky that Saulius or Dovidas, one of the Laurinavicius, did a mistake into the first corner on the second to last lap that got him the win. Peter Jones, on the other hand, has been in Turagua in the second race a little bit unlucky, colliding with his teammate Charlotte Menning in a battle for first position. Well, I'm looking for a good camera for this race start. I think this one might be good. Yeah, and we now wait for the grid to formulate, and there we see the cars plopping up in the starting grid one by one. So, write it into the comments or in the live chat, depending on how you watch this on YouTube. And write us, who do you think will win the first race and the second race? And other than that, the red lights will go on in a matter of seconds. And then we go racing for the 5th time this season in the 3rd round. There are the lights, 3, 4, 5... And away we go. Max Truecker seems to keep the lead as usual with a very good start. Yes, he keeps the lead in front of Peter Jones, and then the other 2 Swinnagles behind that. And he's first for now. Let's go through the grid. First, Max Truecker. Second, Peter Jones. Third, Christian Alvarez. Fourth, Saulius Laurinavicius. 5th Philipp Strübing, 6th Laszlo Teglas, 7th Charlotte Manning, 8th Dovidas Laurinavicius. 9th is Redvan Lamati, who gets a hit from behind and hits the wall, and yeah. That was unfortunate. He falls down to last. Manuel Centino 14, Raschke 13, Anderson 12, Fulgenci 11, 10 Vasquez, 9 Kress, 8 Dovidas, 7th Teglas. And then we go back to the lead where Mark Strucker is battling Peter Jones for the race win. I'm sorry for the slight technical difficulties we appear to have. But yeah, Max Strucker against Peter Jones as far for the first place. And we see in the background there's a lot of fighting happening for the positions. But now the attack from Peter Jones on the outside against Max Strucker into the first corner on the second lap. And they touch, and Peter Jones has to go hard over the curb. And Peter Jones, can he keep the car? He can keep the car straight. It looked for a second like he was about to spin, and now he's driving against Christian Alvarez for the second place. And Alvarez can't make the move stick in his Cupra. So Strucker leads in front of Peter Jones and Christian Alvarez. Here we watch it from the back view of Mark Strucker now, how Peter Jones is driving behind him. And it appears that Peter Jones has a better top speed. He appears to be faster on the straight. That might be just because of the slipstream though. And Christian Alvarez goes wide there, loses loads of times in this three-way battle for the lead. Well, Charlotte Manning had a good start, already on up to the 5th position. But obviously this is where the big boys play. On the front positions. Oh, Peter Jones tries to do the outside line, maybe with a switchback. Unlikely with front wheel drive that these cars have. And they go back to the start-finish line. And we can see Peter Jones lets himself go much wider there at the exit of the last turn. And he attacks on the inside line against Max Strucker, and it appears he goes through and he takes the lead. Peter Jones goes up into the first position for the lead, the Brit. Can he deny Max Strucker the 5th win in a row? Or will Max Strucker take it back, re-attack? Oh, they almost touch, but these are touring cars. Rubbing is racing. Tobias Kress, by the way, has fallen behind a lot. Let's see what happened there for a split second. That's against Fulgenci, and he just gets pushed out wide, and yeah, he spins in a gravel trap. Back to the front positions. With Peter Jones and Mark Stwerker battling for the win. But it feels like Mark Stwerker doesn't have the straight line speed that Peter Jones has to re-overtake him. He might just has to try to push Peter Jones into a mistake here. Oh, and now Mark Stwerker goes wide, goes over the grass there. But it appears that he still keeps up with Peter Jones, who now takes the inside line, tries to cover, and in the back we see the fight between Christian Alvarez and Saulius Laurinavicius for third position as well. And Christian Alvarez, it appears, can defend that third position for now. Jones 5/10 now up against Mark Stwerker. And Laszlo Teglas is out. We didn't see what happened there. My bad. Let's rewind back to see what the Hungarian did. He was in a battle with one of the Fords and just misses the corner, goes over the gravel trap and hits hard into the tire barrier and loses it. Back to Peter Jones against Mark Stwerker. Going into the first corner, Mark tries to maybe go next to him. Where can he find an overtaking opportunity? Peter Jones with standing tires going into this corner here. So yes, Mark Stwerker still pushes for the win. And again, Peter Jones goes wide, but no opportunity for Mark Stwerker to overtake, to take the lead. And now they go back onto the start-finish straight here in Curitiba. But Mark Stwerker can't find a way even beside him at the moment. Let's go through the ranks. First Peter Jones, second Mark Stwerker, third Christian Alvarez, fourth Saulius Laurinavicius, but Alvarez goes very wide and loses third position there. Fifth Philipp Strübing, sixth Charlotte Menning, seventh Francisco Vasquez, eighth Thomas Raschke, ninth Sven Arne Andersen in his Alfa Romeo, 10th Ridwan Lemati, who now goes wide as well. but doesn't lose a position. 11's Dovidas Laurinavicius. We might see an overtake here. That's why I'm sticking to it. But no. 12's Manuel Centino, 13's Nauhel Fulgenci, and 14's Tobias Kress. Those are the top 14, the entire field basically. And we go back to Peter Jones against Mark Stwerker. We'll later go through the field again. In the meantime, Mark Stwerker now with the fastest lap and an attack. Potentially, no, he can't make the car stick next to Peter Jones. Peter Jones defending really well here just by pure pace on the straight line. But Mark Stwerker is all over Peter Jones. And Peter Jones is seemingly struggling with the car. We see the smoke of the tires quite regularly. Cupra against Volkswagen. Where can he attack the Volkswagen? Maybe now he's close to him. He's very close to him now. He now goes for the attack into the first corner. Do they touch? Doesn't seem like it, and Peter Jones keeps the first position for now. Very good racing between these two. Stwerker tries to take the outside lane, almost pushes Peter Jones here through this corner. But I feel like start, finish straight, and turn 1 are the only real overtaking opportunity. This time Peter Jones goes on the inside lane, but I don't think Mark Stwerker this time is close enough for an attack. Or is he? No. This time he wasn't really close enough to an attack. But he seems to have touched Peter Jones at one of these turns, because his front of the car has a little bit of a touch, and now he attacks, and now he goes past Peter Jones. Great overtake by Mark Stwerker 5.5 minutes before the end. Even though he has a hole in the front of his car. Great racing between these two. And now Peter Jones has to do it again, with overtaking the leader. But he really seems to have the better straight line speed. Can he do it into turn 1? Goes next to him. Oh, they almost touch, but I think he might have lost more time to it. Let's go through the order very quickly. Max Twerker first, Peter Jones second, third Saulius Laurinavicius, fourth Christian Alvarez, fifth Philipp Strübing, sixth Charlotte Menning, seventh Thomas Raschke, 8th Sven Arne Andersen, 9th Francisco Vasquez, 10th Dovidas Laurinavicius, 11th Redvan Lemati, 12th Manuel Centino, 13th Nauhel Fulgenci, and 14th Tobias Kress, who has a really bad race here at the moment. And there was Christian Alvarez, and he did a mistake apparently. He's still fourth, but he lost lots of time. What happened there? Let's look at it real quickly. Is behind Saulius Laurinavicius. And here it doesn't happen here. It's almost past and then can't take the corner. Too much speed into the corner. And now back to the leading two. Peter Jones now on the outside against Max Twerker. But Max Twerker can defend the first position. Oh, but maybe with a better exit, and they now running into Tobias Kress. That might cause a problem with the back marker. Peter Jones maybe now tries the overtake that Max Twerker did earlier on him. Now on the inside. But the next is a right hand corner if I'm correct. Or left turn, yeah. Peter Jones tries to switch back, but I think that doesn't really work with these front wheel cars. And we go back onto the start-finish straight. Two minutes left and Peter Jones now seems too far away. Or is he? Tries to overtake on the outside lane. But Max Twerker is really good at defending position. Oh, Peter Jones next to him. Can he now do the overtake for the lead? Looks like it. Or can Max Twerker defend? Max Twerker can defend. 1 minute to go. That means that the next lap is probably the last lap of this race. He tries to do the overtake into the last corner. Doesn't work. But he has the better straight line speed. Attacks on the outside. But the worker fends him off maybe, potentially one last time. Now Peter Jones must be in panic mode. He now needs to overtake. Well, I think Tobias Kress has just... Yeah, he went completely over the grass to get out of the way of these two cars. Where can Peter Jones try to make the overtake stick? That was the corner where Max Twerker did it for the win, for the lead. Can he do it now on the outside? Doesn't seem like it. Switchback maybe. No. Or still next to him. Now on the inside line. Now on the outside line. They touch. We will have a photo finish, last corner! But it appears that Max Twerker will keep the lead, will keep the win! And Max Twerker does it! Peter Jones second, Saulius Laurinavicius third, Christian Alvarez will finish in fourth in front of Philipp Strübing. Charlotte Manning will finish in sixth. Thomas Raschke will finish in seventh. Francisco Vasquez will probably finish in eighth. Dovidas Laurinavicius, only 9th, 10th Sven Arne Andersen, 11th Red van Le Marti. Yes, 12th Manuel Centino, 13th will be Nahuel Fulgenci as Tobias Kress was lapped and already finished the race. But it was once again not Peter Jones, Max Twerker, who won the race, who goes 5 out of 5 races in IVRC TCC. Another huge step towards defending the title, to becoming 5-time champion in the IVRC TCC Championship. Well, some people apparently missed a pit entry there. And we will await him in a second.
User joined your channel.
And there he is, the winner of the first race here in Curitiba. And 5 out of 5 in the first, in the first 5 races. How does it feel, Mark?
Crazy. Really, really crazy. The race was really tough, to be honest, fighting with Peter, and actually I thought he might be able to drive away for a few laps after he overtook me in turn 1, but somehow I managed to get back into the first position on turn, I don't know, 5 I guess it is, and was really close. So had a little bit of fact. But I think so everything shall be fine, and would be great to have such fights every race.
At one point he overtook you, like you said, and after that you stuck behind him, and you overtook him at, in my opinion, a very unconventional situation at like the turn 4, is it, I think, on the inside lane. What was your thought process going into that corner? Was it like something your instinct said to try and overtake him there, or was it more like well, why not, when you, like, something you planned?
Yeah, well, I realized that he's, in the few laps he was in front of me, I realized that he has the way better braking point for turn 1, so basically getting him there would be quite impossible, so I had to find a different corner. And I was thinking about the hairpin in one lap, and I realized that doesn't work at all. So then I've seen that he might have, he's might braking a little bit early for turn 4, and I thought, you know, he basically runs away from me the whole lap, but I could basically break him down, break the gap down to just a few thousandths in that particular corner and in the last corner. But as the last corner is basically completely impossible to overtake, I thought, if I want to get the first position back, I need to do it there. And as soon as I was close enough, I just went for it.
And then in the very last lap, multiple corners in a row, on basically until the last corner, once again you fighting for the win and winning it in the end. And just spectacular how you two managed to go through like basically half a lap next to each other. What was your process, your thought process in the moment? Was it just like pure panic mode, trying to hang on to the lead, or were like all the moves calculated to try and win your fifth race in a row?
Well, in the beginning of the last lap, it was absolutely calculated, but somehow it turned into some silly moves I've done there, as I nearly ruined it on the third last corner on the left-hander, where I basically turned in way too late and got too far to the right for the right-hander. And yeah, I tried to hang on the inside basically, and yeah, there was absolutely no room left, and I was just breaking down. We touched a little bit, and yeah, somehow I got stuck in the lead. I mean, I don't know. I think we were beside each other for the last corner, but yeah, like I said before, entering the last corner was, yeah, I was a little bit better there throughout the whole race. So I was pretty sure I will win it after the S's, basically.
Another race, another win. 5-on-5 this season, 6 out of 6 on the races I commentated. What's going to be the goal for the sprint race, where you start in 14th position? Or not sprint race, but second race, basically.
To be honest, I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see how it works. It's a really tough. Basically, it's a really tough track to overtake. I mean, there are quite a few possibilities where you can dive in and try it. Yeah, especially turn 1, 4, and 6, I guess. But still, it's quite tough. And basically, the other guy has to accept it. If he holds against it, it might end really, really bad for both. And yeah, we'll see how that works out in the end. I hope that I might get some nice overtakes done early in the race. But yeah, I let myself surprised by the race. So we'll see.
Surely you now must think you're in a position of winning the championship quite comfortably after 5 out of 5, right?
Well, it's over when it's over, but so there's quite a lot of points to give, and yeah, we'll see how that works out throughout the rest of the year. To be honest, I didn't expect to win the first 5 races, definitely not, but it's quite a comfortable lead, sure, but yeah, there just needs to be one electricity problem or some internet issue, and the whole gap you've created is gone. So we'll see how that works out for the next few events. But first thing is this second race right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to hold you up any longer. Go and prepare for that second race. You will start in 14th position after there was 1 DNF in this race. Good luck for that second race.
All right, thanks.
User left your channel.
Yes, and any second now we go racing again for the third race of today. Well, I'll try to find a camera suited for this. Seems like a good camera. Kress on 1, Fugenci 2nd, Santino 3rd, Lamati 4th, Anderson 5th, 6th, Dovidas Laurinavic, 7th, Vasquez, 8th, Rushkin, 9th, Charlotte Manning, 10th, Philipp Strübing, 11th, Christian Alvarez, 12th, Saulius Laurinavicius, 13th, Peter Jones, 14th, Max Twerker, 15th, Laszlo Taylor. And yeah, any second now, the second race will go. 2 red lights, 3, 4, 5. And away we go. Tobias Kress appears to have the better start from the get-go. Keeps the first place and hit behind. There's a big crash behind. I don't know who was involved. It looked like a SL racing car. So I think it's either Dovidas or Saulius Laurinavicius. But Tobias Kress goes into the first corner quite comfortably as the car in first position. Behind him are Anderson, then Dovidas Laurinavicius, and Anderson spins! And he spins out and comes back on track, but quite safe, it appears. That is, like always, the danger of sprint races. You have those in front who maybe shouldn't be, and those behind that maybe should in front. But Tobias Kress was a really good start. Well, Dovidas Laurinavicius in second. So Kress first, Laurinavicius second, third Vasquez. Oh, third Manning, fourth Vasquez, fifth Stwerker, sixth Fulgenci, seventh Peter Jones, eighth Laszlo Teglas, 9th Redvan Lamati, 10th Manuel Centino, 11th Thomas Roschke, 12th Saulius Laurinavicius, 13th Christian Alvarez, 14th Philipp Strübing, 15th Sven Arne Anderson, unfortunately. And now back to Tobias Kress against Dovidas Laurinavicius for the first position here. Oh, they touch! Kress goes over the grass. That's Vasquez in the background also going over the grass. And I think Dovidas Laurinavicius takes the lead in his Peugeot. Tobias Kress early with the mistake to, I wouldn't say throw away, but to give up the lead. And Max Twerker again with a great second race, already up in fourth position again. But Dovidas Laurinavicius will now try to open up a gap behind him. Well, Tobias Kress will now get overtaken by Charlotte Manning. And probably Max Twerker. Charlotte Manning also again with a good second race, as it seems. Last time she led for quite a lot in that second race, just to be put out, or like shot out of the lead by her teammate in a collision between those two. Stwerker, not as easy to overtake Tobias Kress there in the background, who now loses position after position, and Peter Jones also already in fourth. But in first we have Dovidas Laurinavicius, the Lithuanian. 5 places he made up in the first 2 laps. And there is collision. Max Twerker has to go over the grass. I think he was hit by Tobias Kress there. And there go more cars wide. Christian Alvarez, Saulius Laurinavicius and Philipp Strübing. 14. Lamati is out. Redvan Lamati is out. What has the Moroccan done? Oh he just seems to have a disconnect. That's unfortunate for him. More racing in the midfield. Around Tobias Kress, as it seems. So for 5th position, Kress in front of Teglas, who now attacks. And Teglas goes past, Fulgenci goes wide, wild, and I think Fulgenci keeps the car straight somehow. And more racing there around Tobias Kress, while Dovydas Laurinavicius with the fastest lap. 3 wide in the first corner. Rushke sticks back, hit between the Kress and Vasquez, and Kress spins and goes to the back of the field on 14th. And Dovydas Laurinavicius leading the race, and Charlotte Manning now in a fight against Mark Stwerker for 2nd position. Best chance to overtake on this track is probably turn 1. Can Mark Stwerker do it in turn 1? Seems to have the better exit out of the second to last corner. We go into the last corner. But as he told us in the interview, overtaking in the last corner is essentially suicide. Stwerker with the fastest lap, and now the attack against Charlotte Manning, and he goes past her, takes 2nd position, and will now try to drive towards Dovydas Laurinavicius to gain 6 out of 6. This is a possibility, while Christian Alvarez, very wild there, goes very far. But it also seems like Mark Stwerker is not entirely out of problems with Charlotte Manning, as she appears to be able to keep up with him. Will Mark Stwerker again hand down Laurinavicius in the last lap, just like 2 weeks ago in Turagua? Or can Charlotte Manning now overtake him again into the first corner? She tries it on the outside line. No. No chance. Oh, and Dovydas makes a mistake in first position. And does another one into the 3rd corner. But I think Stwerker did a mistake as well. He's now battling Charlotte Manning into turn 4. But she apparently lets Peter Jones past. So Peter Jones is now in 3rd. A team order there with 2012 Motorsport. And now we have the situation again. Mark Stwerker against Peter Jones. This time only for 2nd position. Unless they can drive themselves close to Dovydas Laurinavicius. Oh, and again, a lot of wild driving for positions here. Peter Jones has done a mistake. He's down in 5th position. What has he done? Here, let Charlotte Manning overtake him. It appears that, like, I have completely somehow missed that. He just gets ported backwards. Appears to be lag. That's unfortunate for him. He's down in 6th. Well, we have here a big group for position 7. Vasquez, Fulgenci, Saulius Laurinavicius somehow in this group, who now overtakes Fulgenci. No, they touch! Looked clumsy from Laurinavicius there. Strübing is in there as well. And Christian Alvarez. And we also appear to have racing for 4th position between Laszlo Teglas and Thomas Raschke. And it appears we have a fight for the win now between Dovydas Laurinavicius and Max Twerker. But let's go quickly through the order. First Dovydas Laurinavicius, second Max Twerker, third Charlotte Manning, 4th Laszlo Teglas, 5th Thomas Raschke, 6th Peter Jones, 7th Francisco Vasquez. Still, or is he? No, 7th now Nahuel Fulgenci. There's a lot of rubbing there. 7th Fulgenci, 8th Vasquez. Is he? No, he goes back up to 7th. Touch again. Fulgenci. No, 7th. 8th Strübing, 9th Vasquez. Saulius Laurinavicius goes up to 9th. No, Vasquez 9th. 10th Laurinavicius. 11th Alvarez. 12th Anderson. 13th Santino. 14th Kress. And in the meanwhile, we have missed apparently the overtake by Max Twerker against Saulius Laurinavicius, but I will provide you the footage of that while Laurinavicius appears to counter on the straight again and retakes the lead while he goes wide here. Can Max Twerker profit of that? And Charlotte Manning is now in the middle of this fight for the win as well. 3-way battle between these 3 teams. It's Cupra against Peugeot against Volkswagen. Charlotte Manning on the outside of Saulius Laurinavicius. And now let's look for the footage, how Max Twerker got into 1st position. Saulius goes wide there, but keeps the lead for now. And then into the last corner. Bad exit out of the 2nd to last corner by Dovydas Laurinavicius, and Max Twerker then took the lead. Does the Peugeot have more power on the straight line? Better setup for on the straight line? Doesn't necessarily appear to be like that. Can Dovydas Laurinavicius deny Max Twerker for 6 out of 6? They now also open up a gap between them and Charlotte Manning. She now kind of has to hope that these two collide with each other if she wants to win. She appears to not have exactly the pace of these two. And again we go on the start-finish straight. Oh, Dovidas Laurinavicius breaks late, very late. And now it appears Max Striker can open up a little gap. But we have a fight for 5th position between Thomas Raschke and Laszlo Teglas, and there's also Philipp Strübing in close proximity. Oh, Raschke, that doesn't look good. He goes very far, but Teglas can't profit off of it. Let's go through the order real quickly. Max Berker leads. 2nd, Dovidas Laurinavicius. 3rd, Charlotte Manning. 4th, Peter Jones. 5th, Thomas Raschke. 6th, Laszlo Teglas. 7th, Philipp Strübing. 8th, Noel Fulgenci, who just went off track. 9th, Sven Arne Andersen. 10th, Saulius Laurinavicius, who now attacks Andersen. This is a very disappointing race for the Lithuanian. 11th, Manuel Santino. 12th, Christian Alvarez, who just seems to can't put it together in the second race. 13th, Francisco Vasquez. 14th, Tobias Kress. Again, an unlucky race for him. Alright, let's go back for the fight for 5th position between Thomas Raschke and Laszlo Teglas. Teglas now with the attack on the inside, can't make it stick. Saulius Laurinavicius fighting here with Sven Arne Andersen for 9th position. Really not the best of races so far from him. And I doubt there will be much change in the last 3 minutes. But I think it was his car that got pushed into the pit wall at the start of this race. So there might be a lot of damage. More damage than flex tape could fix. He doesn't really seem like he could open up a gap to Sven Arne Andersen. Oh, and he almost spins the car around. Let's go back here to the battle for 5th position between Thomas Raschke and Laszlo Teglas. And potentially Philipp Strübing. almost appears like everyone has now kind of settled into their positions. And we are, I think, in the last lap. Or at least we're going to the last lap. Actually, Tegla's very aggressive over the curbs there. But here's the leader, Max Twerker, who will probably, unless he does a big mistake now on the last lap, go 6-4-6. Unbelievable, yeah, winning streak for him. He is just bulletproof so far. He doesn't really do mistakes, and when his opponents do mistakes, he is there to take the lead and the victory, therefore. He does it time and time again from the last position, and now goes into the last corner and wins the 6th race in a row and the 6th race overall in this series that is only 6 races old this season. For Max Twerker, congratulations! Second gets Dovidas Laurinavicius. Third, Charlotte Manning, while Max Twerker has had the fastest lap in the last lap. Peter Jones 4th. 5th, Thomas Roschke. 6th, Laszlo Teglas, as it appears. Yes, 7th, Philipp Strübing. 8th, Nauhel Fulgenci. 9th will be Saulius Laurinavicius. 10th, Sven Arne Andersen. 11th, Manuel Centino. 12th, Christian Alvarez. Again, very disappointing second race for him. 13th, Francisco Vasquez. And 14th will be Tobias Kress with 22 seconds down. Let's look how he goes through the last corner. And that's the full order. Redron Lamati did not finish the race. While Manuel Centino has put the car into the wall in the lap back to the pits. Very unusual scenes. Yeah, just loses the car on the lap to the pits. Very weird. Now Fulgenci has lost it as well. But Max Twerker wins it and collides in the way into the pits. I hope no one gets injured, and Dios míos. And I'm pretty sure he will now come in here for an interview any second now. The winner, 6, and they're talking about him 6 in a row, again and again. Every time I see you here in victory lane after a win by you. How's that possible?
Stuff. I have no idea. I am basically what I said to Philipp Strübing already after this race. It's not completely about the skill or stuff like that, but mostly about the luck, getting through the first few corners and getting through the start. I guess Peter got caught up in an accident right on the start finish straight, I guess. and he dropped out somehow on that way already. Yeah, later it was just a bit more skill, less luck, but yeah, I just profited from the mistakes of and Charlotte, and of course Peter's mistake. I don't know what happened there exactly.
I think he had a short connection issue as he dropped down from third to sixth without
Okay.
it seeming like he did a mistake. So,
But yeah,
connection.
those were definitely the few, yeah, basically the few inches that yeah, kept me for the win today. And yeah, making it 6 out of 6 is absolutely amazing. But it's great for me, but it would be better if someone else could win a race for championship and for community's sake, of course.
Yeah. This time, like always, the sprint race always a little bit of more hard work, but you actually had to do overtakes today to win it, and there was a mistake by Dovidas Laurinavicius coming into the last corner when you overtook him. But still, for a couple of laps, it looked like he could push you.
Basically, I just overtook him a few corners later.
Yeah, but like the mistake came in the second to last corner, and the overtake was initiated in the last corner.
Possible.
Yeah. But yeah, the first couple of laps after your overtake, it looked like Dovidas was able to push you until you were able to open a gap, and then in the last lap had the fastest lap, something we kind of jokingly talked about before the race. The fastest lap. You got it regardless on the last lap. Yeah, must be a great feeling to come here into victory lane again and again after every race. Basically, I commentate. Am I maybe your lucky charm?
Oh, of course. Definitely looks like it. So keep on commentating. Yeah, of course, it feels great to get here to the interviews over and over again. But yeah, in the end, there are quite a few other guys who definitely would deserve it to stand here and talk with you. And yeah, maybe somebody of them might join us, or might join you as well, so you get another interview. And I don't want to waste your time with all the same speeches and all the same sentences over and over again.
So
Yeah.
sixth race win in a row out of the first six races. Surely you now must be even more confident to win the title than you were after we talked roughly 20 minutes ago.
Everything's going to plan so far.
Okay, then have a good evening, celebrate your win, and we see each other maybe even again in victory lane in 2 weeks in Rio Hondo in Argentina.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Till then,
bye.
Goodbye.
User left your channel. Insufficient permissions. Channel switched.
And now I'm here with the person that finished second in the first race and fourth in the second race, Peter Jones. Peter, tell me, the first race, it seemed like you were bound for the victory until Mark did kind of a surprise attack on you into turn 4 to retake the lead. How was that whole sequence seen in your eyes?
I mean, the battle itself was good. I think the only reason why I didn't win there was because of the contact on lap 2 I had, where he bounced over the curb and hit me off the track. So I think without that little mistake from Mark, I think I probably would have won that. And I think I probably should have as well.
Yeah, and in the end, you drove side by side basically for the last half lap of the race, and it seemed like very clean racing there. And like, I guess you can't complain about the racing there in the last half lap.
No, not at all. In the last half lap, well, since the contact actually on lap 2, I think it was, the racing was very clean, and it was actually a pretty enjoyable battle. But at the end of the day, I think the only reason why he won was because he pushed me off on lap 2.
Okay, and then second race, there was at the start of the race there was like contact. I saw one car got pushed into the pit lane. Did you see who it was? I think it was Saulius Laurinavicius, who also didn't really have a very good race, I presume, because the right side of his car looked like something that couldn't even be fixed by flex tape. Did you get involved in that in any way?
Yeah, so what actually happened was I got a good getaway, and Saulius, with seemingly no caution, just cut straight over my nose when there was a car on my outside, so I couldn't move anywhere. I got sandwiched in the middle. He cuts over my nose and sends himself into the wall.
But during the race, sprint race, always a lot of chaos in sprint races. You seemed to fight back, and then Charlotte seemed to let you pass going into turn 4. I think that's fair to say that she let you pass there.
I would say so, although I wasn't in a voice chat, so I didn't tell her to let me through, if that makes sense.
No, even if you would have had a conversation about that, I wouldn't judge it. It just was, like, in my opinion, pretty obvious. Like, I wouldn't judge team orders. But after that, it seemed like you had a little technical issue, a little connection issue, as you dropped down from 3rd to 6th suddenly without seemingly doing a mistake on track.
Yep. So what happened was I got into 3rd, and going onto the start-finish straight, my internet decided to die, and I kept lagging for like half a lap. I was freezing every 4 seconds. And that pushed me right the way back. And as I lagged into Teglas, that gave me massive front damage, so I couldn't actually drive after that. So yeah, that's just my freaking luck.
Yeah, and talking about luck, it seems like Mark just keeps winning, and even though you seem on the same pace, Saulius usually seems on the same pace, except now for this second race maybe, where, like I said, the right side of his car looked like trash, basically.
Yeah.
At this point, it surely must get more and more frustrating that you can't stop him from somehow winning these races again and again.
I think I should have won both the races today. Classically, I've never had any luck at all in racing. That's just happened in any series I enter. And so I think, the only reason why Mark's won as much as he has is because he's just a lucky prick by this stage. Okay,
but surely you won't give up in the fight for the title, even though you are now quite a lot of points down.
No, not at all. I think, well, I've proven that I can win, and despite all my luck, I've still proven that I can beat the best in this league, and so I still think I can.
Okay. Any more words you want to get off your chest before we wrap up this interview?
No, not really. I think I've said what I need to.
Okay, then thanks for giving us your time, and then I guess we see you in 2 weeks in Rio Hondo, and maybe even in Victory Lane after one of the 2 races.
I freaking hope so. It's been way too long.
Goodbye.
User disconnected from your channel.
And let's wait for a few more seconds or a minute if someone else maybe wants to join in for an interview. Then, other than that, only thing I can really say is that this was once again very enjoyable.
Channel switched.
To commentate again, very good racing we had here today. And once again, somehow Mark Stricker winning again, winning 2 more races again. He somehow keeps winning, and like Peter Jones said, and he himself said, there is a lot of luck involved, and it will be interesting if this lucky streak can go on in Rio Hondo in 2 weeks' time on the 10th of April. But give me a second, I want to look up something. People. But yeah, he's only on a 6 race run. Winning streak, I just looked up the results from last year if he won in Macau the last race, but he didn't. So yeah, he is going ahead, winning more and more, and appears to potentially wrap this up even a little bit early. It's, yeah, like I said, it's a lot. Even if you watch the races, it occasionally becomes quite unbelievable in what way he wins it. First 2 races in Daytona was quite in good fashion, in dominant fashion, and then in where was it, in Turagua, the first race, just defending. Second race, a little bit lucky by Saulius Laurinavicius doing a mistake in the second to last lap. And then in the third race today, in the first race, so again, defending very good from Peter Jones. Peter Jones slightly frustrated after the contact in lap 2 between the two in the first lap. But in my opinion, not like unclean racing. It was, the first corner is just extremely tight. Mark tried to overtake but couldn't. And yeah. But I will wrap this up now for today. Everyone, have a good, nice evening, good, nice night. We see each other in 2 weeks' time in Rio Hondo in Argentina. Till then, goodbye.